and welcome to the next episode of Girls Guide to Guitar. Today we're going to talk about 5 guitar hacks that we can do that'll make you playing a little bit better straight away. So let's get started with number 1. Okay, so the first hack we're going to look at is, where possible, try and keep one finger per fret. Now I know when you're doing your chords, that's not always possible, but particularly in your single line work, it's definitely good to have one finger in each fret. That way your fingers never get messed up around each other or anything like that. Now you can do this in first position, up in fifth, wherever kind of works for you. And you'll notice that all my fingers are exactly where they're supposed to be. This is a really good habit to get into early on, because later on when we start playing really fast and we want to be like a hardcore shredder, we're going to need everything in the right spot. Hack number 2 is finger placement. So the best thing you can always do with your finger is point and press and just behind the fret. You'll always get the cleanest sound. Now you'll notice as soon as you move away from there, your sound starts getting a little bit average. So the easiest thing you can do, point and press just behind the fret. You'll notice this especially when you do things like a C chord. That third finger, it's really hard to get across, but your guitar playing will thank you if you've always got your fingers in the right place. So the third thing we're going to look at, and it sounds like a contradiction to the last one, is we're going to learn to press softer on the neck. So somewhere when we're learning guitar, probably around about the F chord, we start thinking, oh, we've got to push our fingers down really hard because that's the only way to get things to sound out right. And that's not the best way to go about things. So if you have got your fingers in exactly the right place, you actually don't need to press down as hard as you think. So we're going to try this with the caterpillar that we learned in episode 3. So we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, next string, etc. Now what we're going to think about is firstly finger placement, so just behind the fret, pointed and pressed and just behind the fret. And we're also going to experiment a little bit with how softly we can push down. So obviously if we're really far down, but then just gradually lighten it and see where it stops. And then see if you can do the whole exercise with really soft fingerings and see how that works for you. The reason is because we want our fingers to be relaxed and we want to be able to last a while when we're playing guitar. And if you've got these really tense, tight fingers, it's really not going to help us out in the long run. Okay, so the fourth thing we're going to look at is over on the right hand with our picking. Now a lot of the time, especially if you don't do that much single line stuff, you'll often just do a down pick, which is okay, but don't forget that if it goes down, it's probably going to come back up again. So we can use that to make our picking a little bit more efficient. So we can go down, up, down, up, down, up. And you'll notice with my pick, I really only just use like the very tip of it to, and you'll notice if you can do that, you can get your picking to be quite fast and there's not really that much going on in this hand. So it's quite a handy technique to use. The last hack we're going to think about is that you don't need to look at your fretboard as much as you think you do. So especially when we first start out, there's that battle where you're trying to like look at your frets but also play the guitar at the same time. But it's really good to get into a habit of being able to play your chords. And you could look at other things, you could talk to your cameraman, you could do all kinds of stuff, and that's okay. If you think of someone like Ed Sheeran, he doesn't get up on stage, look at like 10,000 people and then go, okay, hang on a sec, and find his chord. So I want you to try out just whatever you're working on at the moment, see if you can do it without looking at the fingers. You'd be surprised at how good you can actually be about this. And think about musicians like Stevie Wonder, or Ray Charles, or Blind Lemon Jefferson. These are musicians who never looked at their instruments and they still do pretty good. So see if you can do it yourself. You can still look occasionally, but just have a go at looking less because it will really help your playing. Thanks for watching this episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. These hacks are really good at making your playing so much more pleasurable, and that's what we want. We want to enjoy our music and we want to enjoy playing guitar.